The Supreme Court just dropped a bombshell. The highest court in the land has decided to grant immunity to the president. This immunity covers actions taken during their term. It's a big deal, folks, and it's stirring up quite the controversy. The ruling means that a sitting president can't be prosecuted, at least not for things they do while in office. It's like a shield, a legal force field, if you will, and it's causing quite a stir in Washington. Some are cheering, others are up in arms. The court argues it's about protecting the office, not the person. It's about letting presidents make tough calls without fear of legal backlash. Critics say it's too much power. They worry about abuse. So what does this mean for us, for democracy, for the balance of power? These are big questions. But one thing's for sure. This ruling is going to shape American politics for years to come. It's a game changer, folks. The Biden administration is not happy. They're seeing red over this ruling. Democrats across the board are up in arms. They're calling it a threat to democracy, a dangerous precedent. They see it as unchecked power, too much authority in one person's hands. They argue it goes against the very fabric of our democracy, the idea that no one is above the law, not even the president. Democrats worry about potential abuse. What if a president goes rogue? What if they break laws left and right? Under this ruling, they could potentially get away with it, at least while in office. The administration is also thinking long-term. They're gearing up for a fight, a legal and political battle that could shape the future of the presidency. Now let's take a step back. Presidential immunity has a history. It's been a part of our legal landscape for quite some time. Past presidents have enjoyed similar protections. Think back to the Nixon era, the idea of executive privilege, the notion that presidents need some level of protection to do their job effectively, to make tough calls without constant fear of prosecution. It's been a part of our system, for better or worse. This ruling is building on that foundation. But it's always been a balancing act. How much protection is too much? Where do we draw the line? These questions have been debated for decades. In Congress, in the courts, in the court of public opinion. It's a tug-of-war that's been going on for generations. And this ruling is just the latest chapter in a long, ongoing story about power, accountability, and leadership in a democracy. Section 4. Safeguarding Democracy: How the Ruling Could Prevent Authoritarianism. Now, here's a perspective that might surprise you. This ruling could actually help prevent authoritarianism. It sounds counterintuitive, but hear me out. Presidents often have to make tough calls, unpopular decisions for the greater good. Without some level of protection, they might hesitate, play it safe, and that could be dangerous. In times of crisis, we need bold leadership, not timidity. This ruling could provide that safety net. But there's more to it. This immunity isn't absolute. Presidents can still be impeached. They can still face consequences after leaving office. So it's not unchecked power. It's more like delayed accountability. It could prevent politically motivated prosecutions. In a roundabout way, this ruling could actually strengthen our democratic institutions by allowing presidents to lead without constant fear of legal repercussions. Section 5. The Road Ahead: Potential Responses from Democrats. So what now? The Democrats aren't taking this lying down, they're strategizing, planning their next move. And they've got options. First up, legislation. They could try to pass laws to limit or clarify presidential immunity. It's a long shot with the current Congress, but it's on the table. They're also looking at constitutional amendments, a much tougher road, but some think it's necessary to really address the issue at its core. Then there's the court itself. Democrats are talking about court reform, expanding the number of justices, term limits. It's controversial stuff, but they argue it's needed to rebalance the scales of justice. Section 6. Balancing Act: Weighing the Pros and Cons of Presidential Immunity. Let's step back and look at the big picture. This ruling isn't black and white, it's got pros and cons, and it's important we consider both sides. On the plus side, there's the leadership angle. Presidents need to make tough calls, sometimes unpopular ones. This immunity could give them that freedom to do what's right, not just what's popular. It could lead to bolder, more effective leadership. In times of crisis, that could be crucial. But there are valid concerns too. The potential for abuse is real. What if a president goes too far? What if they break laws with impunity? These are not idle worries. They go to the heart of our democratic system, the idea that no one is above the law. So where does that leave us? In a complicated place, to be honest. This ruling is a balancing act between effective leadership and accountability.